Okay. So, so I guess this week's lessons or readings and videos are pretty much on diversity, and I don't know if you had a chance to post anything or not yet, but we had, I guess our assignment is to create some type of media like Jing or PowerPoint or something like that, discussing how we can affect diversity and how, and at the same time, I'm trying to think of the exact words. Let me see if I can find it here.
Yeah, it
Um,
says enhancing diversity and understanding the culture of your organization.
right. So what I've tried to do up to this point is that I mean I refer to the reading and then I went into my own. I work at a university. I work in Idaho, and I just kind of looked to see just the makeup of the schools or our university in terms of males and females and white versus non-white and whatever else, and then I looked at the faculty, and and what I discovered is, at least on my side, that men and women are students are about half and half, though online there's more female students, and then we're about
Okay.
75 to 80% white, and everybody else just some minority, whether it's Asian or African American, whatever else. Well, what's interesting is that three-quarters of the faculty are white males, which I find interesting.
Huh.
But but there is probably, so I thought about that in terms of, well, that's interesting. So what is it that I can do? Because I'm a faculty member, but I'm not really like a policy maker or anything like that. And so I thought about what I should
Hmm.
do on my side. Should I be an advocate, or what is it that I ought to do? And maybe you can provide insights about this. But my initial thought is that primarily Stephen Covey talks about two different types of circles: the circle of influence and the circle of concern. And my idea was primarily focusing on the circle of influence, the people I work with in the department and the students that I work with, to do what I can on that end to see if, I discovered what was really interesting. I took a picture of my students, and what I saw is, and I have a class of 12 students, and four of them are female, eight are males, and I noticed that all eight of the males just were in the center of the picture, and then the females were on the outside. Which I don't know if that was. I mean, I don't think they did that on purpose. It's just how it panned out. But I wondered when I saw that, it's like, I teach statistics in the math department. I wonder if sometimes females feel sidelined, if that makes sense, because of their male counterparts. They may feel like they get more emphasis. I don't know. Those
Yeah.
are my kind of my initial thoughts when I went through the readings. Kind of brought to light that perhaps I need to be, at least of all, be aware of the situation about diversity and different types of background, not just race and gender, though that's important, but there's other types like disability and education background and whatever else. Those are important as well too, I think. So that's what I
Yeah.
saw.
I'm looking at different uh, like the makeup of different colleges, and and specifically some of the colleges that I want to apply for my PhD. I'm not doing the EDD through ACE. I'm doing the ed specialist degree. Um,
Oh, okay.
and so I'm kind of
Fantastic.
looking towards the future and looking at PhD degrees. Um, and um, and so obviously when you look at PhD degrees in education, um, first, um, and and as I kind of looked through their statistics on who studies their gender and their geographical distribution, and like how many international students they have, I thought it was really interesting that their gender ratio for PhD students is 75% female.
Oh, 75% female, is that what you
Um,
said?
yeah, yeah, I thought that
Interesting.
was pretty interesting as well.
Yeah.
They have a 20% like international base, and a 30% color students of color base.
Oh, okay.
Um, and their geographical distribution is 40 states and 48 countries.
Wow.
And so I feel like, to me, that's a very diverse distribution there. That one of the things that they kind of talk about, one of the things that is on their application and their admissions information, is that they're looking for people that have done interesting things, that are diverse, that come from different backgrounds, because they talk about how if you just all come from the same background, you're all going to come to the same conclusions. And they're not looking for that. They're looking for people who have different experiences so that they can bring new ideas or bring different arguments to the table, and so that they can talk about different ideas, different things, rather than just the same old ideas.
Yeah, that makes sense. So
that was kind of interesting as well.
No, that is
that was it.
That's very interesting. So what schools are you particularly looking for?
To me, I'm really big into teacher adaptability. That's kind of a lot of the studies that I'm working on right now. How to engage teachers in non-prescriptive teaching, and in a lot of like pre-service teacher education type work. And I'm really interested in educational psychology. So some of the kind of the schools there are Harvard, George Mason University, and some of those kind of areas on the East Coast that deal with those two things combined, where it's about cognition and about teacher education at the same time.
Oh, wow.
So I use this program as to build up my knowledge base, because I know virtually nothing about statistics, and virtually nothing academically about leadership. And so that's what I've been kind of learning that.
Well, if you ever need help with statistics, I can help out. So perfect. I don't know much about.
Where are you at in Idaho?
I'm actually in Rexburg. I teach at BYU Idaho, and so
that is where I graduated my undergrad from.
Oh, is that right? Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I just 2015, 2014, one of those years. History education.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so yeah, so you've probably been in the Ricks building, I'm assuming. Have you been? Okay. Well, that's where I'm at. In fact, where you see behind me, it's an office in the Ricks building. But and so, in fact, if I turn this around, if you can, I don't know if you could see the outside there, but that's the garden just right outside of my office. So, but yeah, well, so you can probably imagine on my side why. I mean, I wasn't surprised at the numbers that I saw. It's BYU Idaho. I think it's a cultural thing more than anything else. It's not uncommon for, like, say, an LDS father to be the breadwinner, or a Mormon father to be the breadwinner, and the mom to stay at home. But that's not always the case. And
sure.
And I think at least what's interesting, I posted something where I just talked with a faculty member, female, and I asked her opinion, her ideas, and what she says was it's not uncommon when you're in a meeting where it's majority of men, that the men, I don't think they do it on purpose, at least that's what she said, that they talk over the women to where the point the women sometimes just don't say anything. And so so she said, and so that was my thoughts behind, as a faculty member. I mean, if I were in administration, I'd probably, perhaps have a little more influence in what I could do to make changes about that, whether in HR. But as a faculty member, I don't have that much. But at least what I could do is be cognizant of that. And so whenever I'm involved in a meeting, especially in an department where we're talking about issues, that I'm more cognizant of what the input of what the female faculty members have in our department. So it's kind of insightful, actually. I guess they have a women's advisory council here at BYU Idaho, and they discuss those concerns. They've discussed about hiring and whatever else, especially in our departments in the math and sciences, where I mean, we've had a couple of faculty members here who really influenced, female faculty members really influenced some of our female students to be involved with math and sciences. In fact, one in particular, though she was on temporarily. Now she's getting a PhD at Utah State. She had recruited several female students to be statisticians, which I thought was really cool. And now we're not getting as much anymore because she's not, I think in part because she's not around. So anyway,
Huh.
so
Yeah, I know that while I was there, they were actively recruiting female faculty.
yeah,
And like like approaching faculty at other universities and attempting to kind of get them to come to Rexburg to kind of fix that disparity that they have, where it's mostly male faculty, and
right.
that it's kind of interesting. I don't know that if it would be the same elsewhere, because I feel like the student body is fairly diverse.
Right.
Well, I guess not. It's mostly white kids from Idaho and Utah,
right.
and in Oregon and Washington. But we have a lot of they have a lot of international students, and
it's growing too.
Sure, and it's changing, especially with the Pathway program that's released, the new Pathway University and stuff like that. So
sure, yeah, definitely. And it's gonna continue to grow as well. And so just the need to have different folks be involved in terms of teaching here at the university, whether it's on, it could be online as well too. That's important. But I think that we could do a better job, obviously. I mean, it is partly, and I know, I think the administration to a certain degree are aware of it and they're trying to do it, but there is still a cultural phenomenon going on. I think you can understand that, trying to hire more folks. And actually what's really interesting, when I talked to her, name was Sister Wagner, or talked to Elaine Wagner, what she was saying is that there's actually some male students that are not thrilled with having a female teacher be their teacher. I think it's a small minority, but there's still some that feel that way because they don't feel like that they're qualified. So what she does, and I didn't mention this in the post, I probably should have, she says she ensures at the start of the semester that she mentions her credentials, just to ensure if there's any guys in the class that thinks she's not qualified, she ensures them that she's well qualified for the position. So, which is sad. And I said, I even mentioned it. That is sad. Why? I mean, but I don't understand. I guess because for me, it's out of sight, out of mind. I don't think about it because of my own, who I am. But
right.
but that just brought to my mind just certain things that I need to consider when I, when I work with students and when I work with fellow faculty members. And we have a couple of international teachers here too. We have one from Palestine. And so I was just kind of thinking about her, thinking in my mind, I don't want to, it's kind of one of those things you don't want to say, I want to go out of my way because I just had this thing about diversity. I just, just without saying anything, just approaching her and just talking to her and getting her input or whatever else, and might be useful, I think. So anyway, so when do you think you'll get your doctorate degree?
I don't know. It really just depends on how on where where life takes me. Right now, I'm teaching in Alaska.
Where?
And in Levelock, it's a village of 70 people.
Oh,
on
wow.
the Aleutian Peninsula.
Oh, that would be
it's
an adventure.
Yeah, it's all native Alaskans.
Wow.
And so I'm immersed in the culture. There's no like I can't just I can't hop over somewhere or drive somewhere. It's like there's plane access only. So I am here and I am with the culture and I'm fully immersed.
Oh,
so
that's cool.
It's kind of interesting.
It almost feels like
so there's not much. I'm the diversity here.
You're the minority. Right.
I'm the minority.
Yeah, which is just the opposite when you were here in Rexburg, which is funny. So,
right.
well, that's cool. I hope that you and your family have a good experience there. Sounds like it's certainly an adventure. Kind of reminds me of kind of a TV show of some sort. Some couple comes out of
we
America.
Should start it, Alaskan,
yeah,
Alaskan teaching show rather than
Yeah.
all the other Alaskan shows they have on. They don't have a teaching one yet.
Oh, that would be, yeah.
You can
Well,
fly to different villages and see how they live.
oh, that's funny. My wife and I were watching this program called "When Calls the Heart" or something like that, and it's about a teacher that goes off in Canada somewhere in the coal mines and her experiences there and whatever else. I think it's kind of fun, but so.
Huh.
So anyway, that's so is there so I'm just kind of thinking, so I'll just let you know, I'll just mention what I'm doing with the I'm doing a PowerPoint presentation, and so I'll be presenting, just kind of giving an intro about BYU Idaho and the makeup, and then just talk about my own experiences interviewing Elaine Wagner and how that went, and then I'll just put that together. I made some pictures of, of some of the faculty that I work with and some of the students I work with and TAs, and so I'm just putting that together. I'm not really fancy about it. I'm just going to use a PowerPoint. I hope it's okay. That's what I'll be using. But I don't know if that's old school or not. I'm not sure, but that's what I'm used to using anyway. So that's what I'll be. That's
Are you
what
gonna record yourself during the PowerPoint, or are you going to submit the PowerPoint presentation?
So there's an audio option on each of the slides, and so I just recorded my voice in the audio and then just submitted that. And I'll just make comments with that. I thought about doing a Jing video, but to me, because you do a Jing video, it takes 5 minutes, and knowing I'm conscientious about how I say stuff, and so I'd go halfway through the video and I'd say that was stupid, and then I start all over again. So I figure that with the PowerPoint for each slide, I just kind of, do a video, audio.
It's segmented. It's small. So
exactly. It's
segmented. Then you don't have to repeat the whole 5 minutes.
Exactly. So if I don't like it, which I did I'm working on it right now, and I'm like, well, that was dumb. Why did I say that? Then I started all over again and just did that. So.
Yeah. So I think for myself, it talks about understanding the culture of your organization. And so my organization is pretty widespread. My district is like larger than many states, and there's only 300 kids in the whole district. And I think there's like 8 or 9, maybe 10 villages kind of in that mix. And so understanding like how the district manages diversity, how the district manages kind of understanding that culture and kind of bringing the voices of the Native people into the schools, and bringing the voices of the Native people into into the leadership of how their students are being taught. And so that's going to be, I believe, my approach. I may do maybe a video presentation or a PowerPoint, so I can show some pictures maybe. So I think that's my approach.
No, that sounds.
Which I thought of while we were talking, so that was helpful.
No, that sounds good. That sounds like a sound approach. So I'd be, yeah, I'd be curious in terms of. In fact, let's do this since you and I are the only ones that met this week. Do you want to pick it? How about you and I just decide? Let's pick a time next week in terms of when we want to meet, and then if anybody wants to join us, they can do it. Does that sound all right?
Sure. Or they could watch, the video after.
Sure, that's true. That's true. So when would be a good time for you to meet, Andrew?
Yeah, I think that the time I was able to get on today would work really well. I can kind of shuffle the kids out of the school and be ready to meet about 3:45 for me, which I believe is about 6:45 for you.
6:45 for me. Okay, so
is it 2 hours?
I can.
You're 2 hours ahead of me, right? Because you're in Idaho.
Actually, I am in Idaho. Oh, you're 2 hours. Oh, that's weird. So you are. I'm 2 hours. I thought maybe just one. So I guess you're 2. So I'm 2 hours.
Yeah,
ahead.
So it's 4. It's 4 o'clock for me now. So it's 6 o'clock
wow.
for you now.
So that means so that would mean 7 o'clock. Is that for if we were to set it up on top of the hour? If you will. So let's do this. I'm doing something with my wife at 7 at the church. Every Thursday, but we could shoot for Wednesday. Would that be possible at 7 o'clock?
Sure. Well, is it 7 o'clock for you? So like for me, 3:45 works. 3:45 for me, which is 2 hours. 2 hours for you, which would be 5:45, right?
Oh, 5:45. Okay, okay, all right, I got you. So
It's for you right now. It's
okay,
6
so let's do this.
in Rexburg.
Yeah, so let's do 5:45 on. If we did 5:45 on Thursday, I'd be bumping up against the meeting with my wife tonight at the church. So let's meet if we can do it Wednesday at 5:45. Would that work for you?
Perfect. Yes.
Okay, let's do
That'll work.
5:45, and
That
then
might give us an opportunity to talk about, maybe some of the discussion board post, information before that next week as well. If,
no,
if
that
you
would.
haven't posted yet, or if I haven't posted yet, or whatever.
Yeah, no, that's good. We can talk about that. I try to post by Tuesday night, but I think it
Okay.
would be good to if we need to, we can discuss the discussion post or whatever else, and then that could help us with the assignment that's due as well. So
Sure.
okay, great. Well, I will, if you're okay with this, I'll send out a link to the recording of this meeting, and then
Perfect.
I'll send it in. I'll just send, hey, we'll be meeting again next week at my time 5:45 p.m. on Wednesday, your time 3:45. Did I say that right?
Perfect.
Okay, and then we'll just go from
Yes.
there. Great. Well, thanks, Andrew. Thanks
Sounds
for
good.
coming on board.
All right. Thanks, Ryan.
Okay, we'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.